Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Gaslands TV. Today I'll be showing you what you can do with your packaging of cars. So first up, you want to prime them, whatever color works for you. I primed these first three in white, and you're going to need a sponge, and you want to use the green part of the sponge because it's going to give you a nice little texture. Going to be doing some cement barricades, so for the gray, I'm going to use light gray from Model Air. And with the sponge, you could just sponge that color all over the barricade. I'm going to leave the bottom white because I'm going to put some arrows there. But the top is going to be some cement, and on the back is going to be cement. So already there with some sponge work, it's looking pretty good. Super easy terrain, guys. It might take a while to do, but easy to make. And now with some black paint, I'm gonna also sponge a bit more at the bottom because it gets, I guess, more dirty there, right? Like the bumpers hit and exhausts and maybe some machine guns. So there it gets pretty dirty. So with some black and a sponge, I'm just gonna dirty the bottom. Put some maybe on top, a few different areas maybe that a missile hit or something. Then after you've put some black, you go back to the gray and sponge some gray back on top of the black. So it's gonna give you a middle color. So it's as if you used three different colors. Don't worry about dirtying the bottom, it's not important. Now with a convention pass that I had, you could use anything that's pretty stiff to make a template. I'm going to make some arrows here with a hobby knife. You can do this more precisely and with better measurements. I am freehanding everything, so I mean, try to save some time here. But yeah, so I cut some arrows there, made a template, and with some red, I am going to use the template and paint some red arrows. It's not gonna come out clean, obviously, because I don't know how to do these things. But with a bit of patience, you could clean the mistakes and just pass over the red that's already there, make the lines a bit more straight, and just freehand the edges to just clean them up a little bit. Once you've cleaned up the red, you could also use white. White paint is going to be good to clean up the edges of the red. Took me about 3 coats of red and just a bit of white all around to just clean it up, make the edges straight on the arrows. So that looks pretty clean. And now to dirty the base, I'm going to use 2 different browns, a sand brown and a dark brown. Start with the dark brown and just dirty the bottom. And I mean, depending on where you're going to put these, I'm probably going to be putting them on a brown mat, so try to match the mat. And don't worry about putting some in creases like up here, because that's that's sand, right? So it gets blown up there and it probably gets into the cracks and stuff, little nooks and crannies if you have any in the packaging that you got. And dirty up the bottom a little bit. I had extra paint, so I painted even underneath just in case. Don't want to waste paint. And then with the light brown, I'm gonna dry brush on top of the darker brown, just to have two different colors of dirt there. Maybe some like hardened mud or clay and sand. It's a mix of both, you know. And also dirty up a bit higher, because that stuff gets blown up too, gets thrown onto the barriers, so dirty up the bottom of the barriers. That's looking pretty good. Still a bit too clean for my liking, but gonna use some wash to dirty it up. Wash is like a liquidy ink, liquid black, and it looks like it gives an effect like it was hand painted by someone recently, you know. Just make it dirty. Since it's Gaslands, it's fine to dirty it up and give it a more realistic look. Speaking of realistic, sometimes these cars, they hit the side here, right? So they're gonna leave bumper marks. I'm sure you've seen these in parking lots and underground parkings, just markings all over the walls where people hit. So you could use that, just some black or some wash, and make some lines around. The edges also get hit more often, so put some extra paint there. And then with just black ink, make a few fresh lines. You know, some recently hit cars. Well, that looks pretty good. Looks like the bumper would hit that area. And these are washed, so those three are done for now. I'll get back to them. There's more to do to them, but I want to get to the other three. And here I put some tape and I primed them in black at the bottom and left the top white. So with some yellow, I'm going to make some lines here, freehand. I was getting lazy here. I didn't want to do a template, but you could do templates. You could use tape and whatever method you think would be good to make these lines straight. I just did like 4 or 5 coats of yellow, and then with some black I just cleaned up the lines. And they look pretty horrendous as is, but if you use black paint and just clean them up, both ends, the top, the bottom, they're gonna come out looking pretty nice. I mean, level of detail depends on how much time you have and how much time you want to put into terrain. But these are pretty fast and don't require too much detail. I'm just gonna clean up the top and the bottom with some black, and I'm gonna do the top half in green, because for these I was thinking maybe making some dumpsters or like futuristic dumpsters, and I'm gonna just clean the edges here with the green first. Again, the green is on white is probably gonna take a few coats, maybe 3 coats. Should do should be enough to do a nice green. Again, when you first coat, don't forget, it's not gonna look good, obviously, but just make sure there's no bumps of paint. Even if it's see-through or doesn't look very nice, just make sure it's smooth and let it dry, and then just put another coat. So after 3 coats, it looks kind of like this. Super clean dumpsters that just came out of the factory, but we're gonna dirty those up later. Now while the top is drying, I'm gonna do the bottom here. Same method as before, but I'm gonna show you how to use a sponge with a secondary color. So like before, the dark brown, go all around, dirty up the bottom. Now while that's drying, I'm gonna go back to the top with some silver, metallic silver, and I'm gonna chip off some paint. So metallic silver makes it look like you're chipping off paint. So wherever you want to chip off paint, just use your brush, put some silver on it, and chip off paint. Depending on how the light's gonna hit it, it's gonna look like some damaged metal. The corners are always more damaged. So we'll put some silver there. With this, less is more, and you gotta know when to stop. I don't. I have a habit of just going and keep going, and sometimes I put too much, but I'm gonna practice on putting less. And all along the edges here, I like to pass the side of the brush with some silver on it, and then put a few details with the tip of the brush. Make it look really damaged. And then when you have very little paint on your brush, you could just finish it off all over the area that you want to make damaged. So that's pretty good. And I'm gonna put some at the bottom here too. Really damaging up this one. And I'm gonna take a break to eat some food because I'm quarantined right now and you need your energy. So take a break when you're doing this, eat, stay hydrated, and then get back to painting. You will come back feeling better, trust me. So I put enough metal, I think, on this one. And once all the metal is done, some silver on all the different dumpsters here. I'm gonna go back to the bottom because it's dry now, while the silver is gonna dry on top. And I'm gonna sponge the bottom here with a lighter brown or clay colored dry mud. And see the effect it's doing there with the sponge. Looks pretty cool. You could use this same method to dirty up your car, like behind the wheels. Put some mud on the back there. That looks pretty good once it's going to be washed again with the black wash. Shake up the wash, and I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like. For those of you who don't know, it's very liquidy. It's like black water. And I mean, if you want to dirty it up a lot, don't be scared of putting quite a bit on your brush and just throwing it everywhere. It's also going to do a nice dirty effect on the yellow there because that's way too clean, right? So always going upwards, which is the more realistic look, because when it rains, weathering does that up and down all the time. So whether you're applying rust or paint chips or anything, or even washes, go from bottom up. I'm gonna put whatever I have left over because I don't want to waste it. I'll just put it on top here. And those look like some futuristic dumpsters, or I don't know, barriers. Now I wanted to try doing some bullet holes, and this is the first time I'm doing them. And I figured I'd use a silver Sharpie to make the where the metal is going to show, and then with some black and the tip of a toothpick you could put some black dots in the silver, and then just add some rust effect underneath the bullet holes. I mean, for my first time doing these bullet holes, they're not bad, considering they were shooting on a metal dumpster. And now I'm gonna put the bumper marks here on the bottom again. Add a bit of realism. You could pass your finger if you want on top of the black and just spread it. And those markings look pretty good. Now this looks good as is, but if you want, you could add some cracks. If you're not good at freehanding, you could leave it as is, but if you want to attempt it and try it, you have nothing to lose. Just put some black on a brush and pretend you're painting a tree branch or something, you know. You could try on paper first, and if you like how a crack looks, then just try to copy the same look of that crack on the actual terrain. Then with some black wash, I'm just gonna darken up a bit where there is some cracks, just to give it some depth. And now back to the dumpsters. I'm gonna put some orange on top of the silver markings that I did. So those are gonna be like super rusted areas. And then just put a bit of bright orange for rust effect. And dry brush the rest of it all over the metal part of this dumpster. And once you put the orange, you want to put some rust color or darker brown if you have on top of the orange, so it's not super bright, and it gives it a pretty good rusted look there. Then you could go back over it with a bit of silver dry brushing. And those look pretty good. If you do some mistakes, just clean it up a little bit. I had some silver on the black there, so I used some black and painted over the silver. Just clean them up a little bit. And the best thing is that they are stackable. If you have the same type of packaging, you could stack them, and super easy to transport, and they're super light. Another tip is, if you want to graffiti your walls, you could use tattoos. If you could find graffiti looking tattoos, that's even better, but I had these hippie flower things, so whatever, I'll put them. Just try it, see how it looks. And if it does come out, then I'll probably go buy some graffiti looking tattoos. It's not bad. That looks pretty cool. You know, it looks like someone passed there and painted some stuff there. I wanted to put this on the side here, but it was too big, so I'm gonna cut it in half and see how that comes out. You gotta put a lot of water on these things. Make sure it's really wet and stuck there, and then dry it up. Make sure to subscribe if you like my videos, guys, and hit the notification bell so that you know whenever I post a new video. And there you have it, some barriers. I want to give a special shout out to JW Russell for that idea. Thanks a lot, buddy. If you're interested in getting some Gaslands dice to actually play the game, or if you need some engines, engine blocks, pipes, guns, miniguns, rams, there's even rams. I could sell containers full of this stuff if you want. Kind of like the Gaslands black market. Actually, no, it's on my Etsy page. But you could go to our Facebook page. Also, we have a contest where you could win that stuff. And make sure to like, comment, and share this video if you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.